Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today I have a review of About Us by Margaret Holbrook. If we're going for full disclosure here, then Margaret is a friend of mine. In fact, she is one of the independent writers who helped me to release Our Doris. My being friends with Margaret doesn't diminish the fact that this is a brilliant book. About Us follows a young woman called Chrissy over a period of 25 years after she marries the love of her life, Phil Beecham. She thinks everything is going to be perfect. She thinks that they're going to have the brilliant married life and has a really rose-tinted idea of what marriage actually is and what she will get out of this relationship. It turns out Phil has a secret, as we thought he might. I began to have ideas from the prose and suggestions that Margaret very explicitly gives you what this secret will be quite early on in the book, but then it becomes something that these characters can't necessarily get over. About Us is chronicling over 20 years in this character's life and is a brilliant look and insight into adult relationships and what sacrifices and compromises we have to make as adults within marriage in order to make those marriages work. Margaret writes books that have very innocent plots behind them. You think they're going to be almost like what you would read in A People's Friend, and then there is something sinister beneath them, and it's not necessarily sinister within this book, it's just a darkness, something gritty in there that you don't know how the characters will be able to overcome something. And I thought that the story would go one way and it didn't, and Margaret works very hard at being able to surprise her readers. Now, I did have a few issues that I'm going to mention here, simply because that's exactly what I did with The Trouble with Goats and Sheep, and that's my favourite book of last year. In fact, it's there as one of my favourite books ever. It's to do with the same sort of thing in that I'm not sure when mobile phones were invented, but I question whether some things that were going on with mobile phones in this book were a bit too early for them to be used. I mean, it's not even a plot point in that one, it's just something small that niggled. And I think that if that is the only issue I have with the book, then it must be good. Although I questioned the resolution of this book, I did like the fact that Margaret wrote about it and that Margaret looked at this difficult relationship and discussed within this book marriage and sexual identity and parenting, and really went deep into this marriage and what made this marriage work, even though there were these secrets and there was this underlying anger and there were these arguments. There was still very much a love and a respect between these two people. And I think that if you want an examination of married life in the 20th and the 21st century, then you should look at this book, because it is a brilliant take and a brilliant look at relationships, and I recommend it to everybody. I recommend it to you wholeheartedly. I really enjoyed this book. I will leave links to Margaret's website and Twitter page down below for you to go and check her out, and I think there's a link so that you can read the first chapter, so I'll do that as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.